to the podcast. I'm your host, Daniel's Butt.
And I'm your host, Hank Ventura. Alrighty then. That's
Good stuff. We're just joking over here. We're just joshing you. I am, of course, the detective, Daniel Ehrenberg, and we are covering the great. You know, I consider today's episode a celebration of Jim Carrey.
Yeah, sure.
I've been critical of him in the past. I told him to shut up and just sit down in Batman Forever. But here we are. This has been suggested by a patron.
Right.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, Henry.
That it was. Which patron was it?
I believe it was Nolan Rossiter. Yes.
All right.
N. Rossi on various social medias. And Yeah. So he chose Ace Ventura. I had been complaining on the podcast for a while about too many horror movies. I'm fucking sick of people slashing people up. Of course, last couple weeks, my mind was changed. Wishmaster was a total delight.
Right. Yours was. Yeah.
But I am excited to move to a different genre. Rossi said, do a comedy. He gave a few suggestions, but the first one on the list was Ace Ventura. And,
what were the other ones?
I think Porky's was one. He just mentioned a few others. A Police Academy. He said if Ace Ventura doesn't strike your fancy, these are alternates.
Porky's would have been interesting. I don't think I've ever seen the Porky's movies, and they were huge when I was a kid.
I've seen the first two. I've unfortunately never seen Porky's Revenge.
Oh, that's the big one.
That's the big dog, baby.
I don't know if Dan's aware of this. He will be now, but we also have some more celebrating. By the time this airs, tomorrow will be exactly 4 years to the day that this show premiered.
What a celebration.
That's right.
Happy
June 9th.
Anniversary to the franchise. Happy great career to Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And
happy great career to us.
Happy
honestly.
great career to us. 4 years,
We're
you
still
say?
Here. 4 years. June 9th, 2016. Die Hard. Yep.
Die Hard, that's right. Introduction and Die Hard, the title of our very first episode.
That's right, where I got I stole Daniel's ending line of Happy Trails. That's where it all started. Yep.
Boy, oh boy, I was drinking up a storm. But
you still performed, man.
Did I? Was I good on that episode? I don't even remember. I haven't listened to it in ages.
You set the tone. You laid the rules. We had a great time talking about it. I didn't know what I was doing. You walked me through it. It was still funny. Absolutely.
I was critical of Argyle. You were unhappy about that.
I did my first superhero count. We talked a lot about. Did we not speak a lot about Alexander Godunov? I thought that was funny. I think we did.
We did. I just watched a movie. What was it? Oh, Witness. I just watched Witness, and Alexander Godunov is in that as a good guy. And the whole movie, I was waiting for the heel turn, and it never came.
Waiting for him to break somebody's neck.
I couldn't believe that he was just cast as a regular person.
Yeah, like 3 years before Die Hard.
Yeah.
No, he was a ballet dancer, so, unless he's been Black Swan, he's probably a lovely man.
Those were the days, Hank.
Sorry, was. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is he dead?
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Alexander Godunov. We dedicate this episode to him.
Sure. Yeah, we had said R.I.P. 4 years ago. I think he died tragically young. I don't remember how, but it was bad.
Young and beautiful.
Young and beautiful. So we got 4 years. We got Jim Carrey. I got to look back at some of the Jim Carrey movies.
Why'd you do that? Because we're going to rank all of them right now?
That's exactly why I did it. I will preface by saying I did not include Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls because we're watching it next week, and I just didn't feel like I was.
I
you know
understand the impulse to do that, Henry, but I did include it just based on my memories of it.
I understand. You also have probably, I would bet, seen that since I have. I don't think I've seen it.
I don't know. That's a movie I watched like probably 10 times the year it came out and then just never watched it again.
Okay.
Because I think it was like I was trying to force myself to like it. But then, like, once the dust was cleared, if I was in the mood to watch an Ace Ventura movie, I was going to watch fucking Ace Ventura.
Right. I saw both of them in theaters, and
Same.
I don't think I saw When Nature Calls again after that. So that's 25 years ago. So I think it's better if I leave it off the list. And I have seen this one since, but it's also been probably 2 decades, man. So this was an interesting rewatch.
I've watched it within the last couple of years, Henry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
This was relatively fresh for me.
Okay. All right.
Henry, how many Jim Carrey films have you seen?
21.
I've seen 35. Hey,
Knew it.
If you like this segment, by the way, patreon.com/thefranchise, $5 a month. You'll get frequent episodes of our classic show, Order Up.
What? It's rusty. I haven't done it in a while.
It sounded pretty good, though.
Yeah, we got to get that going, folks. It's one of our favorite things to do, and get on there. We got an exciting week this week. You know, we got email. We got a couple emails. We got a couple of new reviews on Podkite.
Yeah, Podkite. Well, just on fucking Apple or whatever.
on how I see it. Yes, on Podkite. Got our Chartable rankings back. We're doing very well in Singapore. We are hot shit in Singapore.
We're doing well in New Zealand, baby, and they're healthy over there. They're healthy like a horse, and they're listening to us.
I'm telling you, we got another plea from Aussie Scott. I got another one, just saying, hey guys, doesn't look too good over there. You're still welcome.
I gotta be honest, it does not look too good over here. The city's on fire, baby.
It's great times. It's great times. Well, we're here to provide you with that escape, and without further ado, it is episode 209.
Oh, God.
209.
I never would have gotten that. I was way off.
Yeah, it's 209 because, of course, on our feed, it's about, I think we're at like 221 or something.
Because the bonus episodes. Henry, let me start this list. We got a long way to go here.
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. Number 35, the worst Jim Carrey film that there is, in my opinion, Henry.
I'm very intrigued. All right.
It's Dumb and Dumber 2.
Didn't see it.
Oh, wow. I saw it. I had trouble with it. I wanted to shut it off multiple occasions.
That right.
I got through it, though.
Jeez. Yeah, I was not going to go see that. Did you see that in the theater?
No.
Okay.
We'll cover it. 34, Henry. I know some people have some love for this movie. I took some shit for talking down to it on the pod, but I fucking hate it. Number 34, Batman Forever.
Oh, please. You're
dum da da dum da da dum da da dum.
Yeah, so that's your second worst.
Yeah, I hate that fucking movie.
I don't want to give any spoilers, but I like your placement.
Oh, thanks. Number 33, Henry. This is a weird one. Now, I have to admit to something. When Ace Ventura: Pet Detective first came out in theaters, I'll just tell the story. It was February 4th, 1994, and my family was down in Florida, in West Palm Beach, visiting my grandma Dottie.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
What a great name for a grandma.
I know, perfect, right? And she was like this tall, statuesque tan woman with a big mop of red hair.
That's not true.
It is true.
That's not what I'm picturing at all.
Yeah, that's who she was.
Wow. Okay.
Amazing woman. Anyway, we're down in Florida, and it's like we've been down there maybe for a week already, and it's like we gotta go out and do something as a family. So we're gonna go to the movies. All right. We went to this theater. It was the nicest theater I'd ever been to in my life.
I bet.
Up to that point, I mean, in Brooklyn, we went to this like piece of shit on the side of the highway. It's multiplex, and then like the upstate theaters I'd been to were like this disgusting, like disused, like the films weren't framed right. You could see boom mics, and then like
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and so this theater was like mind blowing. I'll never forget this theater. Like I remember, like I have a picture in my head of like me looking up, like oh my god, the ceilings, and
wow, and you're like 8 years old, right?
8 years old, maybe 7 even. I turned 8 that year.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah. So, and we went to see Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And I was blown away by this movie. I loved it. It was one of my favorite movies. And so I was obsessed with Jim Carrey. And so there's a couple of oddities on my list that were like weird early Jim Carrey things that I sought out as a fan.
Sure. Yeah.
So without further ado, my number 33 is this really weird fucking comedy he did called Rubber Face. I think it had a different title when it was originally released, but then when Jim Carrey got hot, they like re-released it on VHS as Rubber Face with like a big picture of him on the cover, and I rented it.
Okay. Wow. All right, and it's bad.
Horrible. Okay. 30, and he's like not even in it that much. Like it's not about his character. Oh, it's very annoying. Okay. Number 32 is Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. Did not like it.
Okay.
I had total Phantom Menace syndrome with that movie, and then like eventually decided I wasn't into it.
Oh my goodness, that's really surprising.
I could like it more. I'm open to it.
Yeah, I feel like that might happen to me, that I'm not going to care for it very much. I don't remember liking it the opening scene I remember. That's all I remember, and I thought that was pretty masterful. Besides that, I no recollection of the movie.
Number 31 is the remake he was in. It was weirdly written by Judd Apatow, but it came out and it was just like so stale. Like it felt boring. Like I don't know. That was Fun with Dick and Jane.
Oh yeah, I skipped that too, man.
Yeah, Taya Leone as Jane.
Judd Apatow wrote it?
Co-wrote it, yeah.
Weird.
I know. Okay. Number 30 is a television appearance. He has a couple of those floating around his filmography. And I particularly fucking hated his weird turn after Steve Carell left The Office.
I didn't include Saturday Night Live and Living Color or The Office.
That's
Should
all
I
on
have?
Mine, yeah.
You included all 3 of those on your list? Oh boy, yeah. I don't. The Office when he was on it, it was a very small thing, though, right? I mean,
yeah, but it was like maybe the broadest thing The Office had done to that point. It was so large. It was just like Jim carrying it up, and it totally like, to me, like broke the illusion of whatever they're trying to convince me.
Yeah. I mean, that was when The Office was going downhill a little bit.
It was in the process, yeah.
Yeah, I should have done. I'm going to probably have to add in Living Color. Saturday Night Live, I don't really remember his appearances.
I do very much.
You're going to have to refresh my memory.
The one SNL sketch that's great is he's a lifeguard in a kiddie pool or a hot tub or something.
Yes. I remember that. Okay.
That's very funny.
Yeah, I remember that. Holy shit. Okay. All right. God damn it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Number 29 on the old listaroo, Henry.
Yeah.
It is his appearance in The Incredible Burt Wonderstone. He plays a supporting role. Carell is Burt Wonderstone. You can also find my fat child actor cousin Joshua Ehrenberg in that film.
That's right. I remember that. I liked Burt Wonderstone.
It's a terrible movie. Get out of here.
Good fun time, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Dinner for Schmucks is better than Burt Wonderstone.
No.
I know, you hate that movie.
That's unwatchable, man. That movie made me angry.
Why did it make you angry? We had such a nice day going to see it.
That's why it made me angry. Because you, me, and Casey, we played hoops. We got a couple drinks, and we were looking for a movie. We couldn't see what we wanted to see.
I don't remember what it was.
Neither do I, but it was sold out, and we couldn't get in, and that was a total compromise choice because we were already in the Chelsea Theater, and so we were just like, fine. And I was just like, God damn it, this is so terrible. Like,
I thought it was fine.
Oh, God.
All right, 28 on my list. Now, this is a shitty sequel. Jim Carrey has not had good luck with sequels. It feels like he's never wanted to make one, and yet he's ended up in a few anyway.
Yeah.
So, but this is this is a sequel. He was not in the first one, and that is Kick-Ass 2.
Yeah, that's on my list.
That sucked.
It's pretty low on my list, yeah. I don't remember hating it.
I pretty much hated it. 27 for me is Ron Howard's How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Too high.
Too high, okay. My number 26 is an early Jim Carrey joint, which was out of print when I got into Jim Carrey, and it is one of only 2 things I've ever bought on eBay.
Can I guess?
It was a VHS of this film. Go ahead.
Earth Girls Are Easy?
No. That was available.
Boy. I don't know.
I'll tell you, it is the vampire comedy Once Bitten.
Once Bitten, right. Yep. He's the star of that, too, isn't he? Semi, like...
For the most part. Like it's a two-hander, kind of.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, okay.
25 for me is his appearance as the adult Joseph Mazzello in Simon Birch.
Jesus Christ. I remember when that movie came out, I wanted no parts of that.
Oh, I was into it, dude. Feed me that shit.
Yeah, I didn't know he played the... So
It's like the framing device. It's Jim Carrey is like visiting Simon Birch's gravestone and then like narrating the movie.
Oh my God. Oh boy. Wow.
24, I don't remember him being in this, but I'm sure it was during that big long fight sequence at the end, and that's Anchorman 2.
Yeah, it's on my list. Not a good movie.
Number 23, Henry. What else could it be? The number 23.
I remember watching that. I think that was a rental.
I saw it in theaters, baby.
Yeah.
I was into it too. Like, that movie's bad, but it's the kind of bad where you're like, this is fucking amazing.
I'll tell you right now, exactly what you're saying. Sum up in 3 words. Joel Schumacher bad.
Yeah, and you could sum it up in the number 23 because they talk about the number 23 in every scene of that movie incessantly. The number 23 must be said thousands of times in that film.
Yeah, 23,000. It's a lot. Yeah, it's Joel Schumacher bad, but not Batman Forever bad. It's Joel Schumacher like
it's fun bad.
Yeah,
like The Client or something.
It's a good time. Yep.
Number 22. We're not up to you yet?
I'm 21. So.
Okay. 22 is the movie I watched a couple weeks ago. I wanted to watch a new Hollywood movie, and I had the listeners vote between Sonic the Hedgehog and Birds of Prey, and they voted for Sonic the Hedgehog, and it was mostly bad. But I'm down for the Sega Cinematic Universe or whatever they're trying to start. Wow. But yeah, that's where it falls.
Now that was on Twitter, or you're still off that, right?
Yeah. This was when I was still on it.
Okay, good on that. By the way, still proud of you. All right, so now I come in number 21.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the worst thing I ever saw him in. I saw it in the theater. For some reason, I thought it was going to be some kind of amazing, cool movie. I was too old to think that. I have no excuse, and it was disgusting, vulgar, gross. and embarrassing. And I should have walked out. I was with some people, so as usual, I caved. But it's The Grinch.
Vulgar? Why do you call that movie vulgar?
Because he just turns it's just gross. It's got all that scatological humor. It doesn't work in context of the movie. It's just that whole movie's just a fucking disaster. It's a disaster of makeup, set design, direction, script, acting, it's just awful. And there was so much hype up to that. I remember reading articles about how painful it was for him to get into costume and all that shit. And I was like, this will be cool. This will be interesting.
There was an Oscar campaign for him for that movie.
Jesus Christ. It's awful. That's the worst thing.
It is bad. It's a bad movie.
Yeah.
Henry, I was reminded during that diatribe of the time Jim Carrey was a guest at Barnes & Noble.
I wasn't around for that.
You weren't around for that? Okay.
Oh.
I have a great story that somebody told me. So Jim Carrey was signing books or whatever the fuck he was promoting, and they put on music just in the background for the signing. They have music on, and
I do that.
Yeah, everyone did that.
Jock Clusterman used to love my playlist.
I know, Henry. You felt good about that.
I did every time he came. Yeah.
So they put on the first Weezer album.
Okay.
So it's like Buddy Holly and the Sweater Song and shit.
So great music.
Right. And Jim Carrey calls the event person over, and she says, "What do you need?" And Jim Carrey says, "Can you change the music? I don't like heavy metal."
Yeah, it's no Cannibal Corpse, I'll tell you that.
Oh my God, fucking Cannibal Corpse in this movie. I remember the first time I saw this movie thinking that was like a joke band. It was like a parody.
Obviously, they are a joke band. Yeah.
I know. And on the song they play, it says like on like the Wikipedia or something that it's one of their most well-known songs. And I was like, yeah, because it's in Ace Ventura.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. Yeah, it's a great song. It's got everything going for it.
It goes like this. Ooh, ooh, ooh,
yeah. Good stuff.
Okay, where are we? 21. My 21.
Yeah.
It's a movie. Some people like it more than I do. I think this is just Hollywood trash. Also, I used to own it because one year, when I worked at Blockbuster, they would gift for Christmas a DVD to all their employees, but you couldn't choose the DVD, and everyone got the same one. And
whenever they had more stock.
Yes. And so one year, that DVD was Bruce Almighty.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't hate that movie at all. I don't have any great love for it, but we'll get to it on my list. Yeah, Yeah, that's funny that you got a copy of that, though. What a disappointment.
And then I tried to sell it back to Blockbuster because they were buying used DVDs at that point. And you couldn't even do it because the copies that the employees got didn't have barcodes on them.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. Wow.
So I was just stuck with that fucking Bruce Almighty DVD. I think I just gave it away at some point.
Give it away or do something I've only done on very, very, very few occasions. I've thrown them out.
I've never done that.
I've done it.
Feels
I don't want to
sell it, man.
It doesn't feel right, but it feels right when it's over. You forget about it. It's not sullying your collection. So,
number 20 for you, Henry.
Number 20 for me. We covered it on the show. I forgot how horrible it was, and I would watch anything else on my list easily above ever watching this again, and that is Batman Forever.
Yeah, thank you for saying it.
Yeah, second worst for you, second worst for me.
Number 20 for me is another Hollywood trash movie, but slightly better than Bruce Almighty, in my humble opinion. But it does have Zooey Deschanel, one of her most charming Hollywood performances, but it was during this weird period where they kept putting her in movies with like aging comedians that were too old for her. Do you remember this? Fucking Elf, and then this movie, Yes Man.
Oh, wow. I passed. You know, Jim Carrey is just one of those guys I grew up with. Basically, watched him in Living Color as a kid when I was living in Toronto. That's when I first became aware of him, long before Ace Ventura. So he wasn't like an epiphany to me when he had Ace Ventura or anything like he was for most people. But you know, he's a guy I really like, and I think he's really fucking funny, and I think he's so talented. But when I was looking at these movies, he just has not made a lot of great movies.
No, you know what though? I disagree. I feel like he's made a bunch of good movies. Maybe not a lot of great movies, but he's made a lot of good movies. But he's made so many bad movies.
Right. Yeah. No, it's disproportionate. It's hugely disproportionate.
Yeah, he's been in very few okay movies. It's like all really good or like shit.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. So what's your 20 you said already, right?
Yes, Man, one of his very few okay movies.
All right, the third worst thing I've ever seen him in. Again, I actually really need a rewatch of this. I saw it in the theater, and I just really didn't like it, but I feel like perhaps I was unfair to it because of expectations. But I'm sticking with it, and that's Anchorman 2.
It's boring. Look, we'll rewatch it for the podcast at some point.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Number 19 for me is Frank Darabont's glorious Frank Capra homage, The Majestic.
Yeah, it's not very good at all.
I was so pumped for that movie when it came out.
Were you really?
Yes.
And I wasn't, and you know, he'd done Shawshank and all that, and I didn't give a shit.
I didn't care about Darabont at that point, but for me, I was like a Jim Carrey in a drama head.
Yeah, right.
He had done Truman and Man on the Moon, and I was way into both those movies.
Yeah. I actually didn't even see that in theater, and that would have been something I would have, but I think I just passed it, and then I saw it eventually, and it's
pretty boring.
Yeah. No mas. So number 18 for me, I laughed in the theater at several scenes very hard, but it's pretty much a shitty movie overall, and that is Me, Myself, and Irene.
Yeah, it's not very good, is it?
No,
it's a little higher. It's a little higher for me. Number 18 is a movie I had never seen until the podcast, and that is the final Dirty Harry film, The Deadpool.
Yeah, he's very good in it.
He's very funny in it.
He is, and I like the Deadpool. So, a little higher on my list. Didn't breach the top 10 or anything, but yeah.
Sure.
All right.
17?
17 is the number 23.
Makes sense. My number, well, actually it doesn't. It should be number 23, no. But there is no number 23 on your list. 17 for me is Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh.
It's the reteaming with the Farrelly brothers, and it does not work quite as well. You know, it's got that Farrelly brothers tone. Like, I see what it's going for. Yeah. I just feel like I think maybe it's Jim Carrey's fault. I don't think he nailed that character.
Yeah. I mean, it's just got, like a lot of Farrelly things, it just has a lot of throwaway shit that isn't funny. It's got. I felt that way about.
I remember there being a chicken up a butt in that movie.
I don't, but there you go.
A big black guy. You don't remember he had like 3 big black sons, and I think at one point he got a chicken, like a chicken's head, up his butt.
Nice.
Am I making this up?
I don't. Probably not. I'm sure you're not. You know, that's the thing with those guys. You know, they make movies where there's like 1 or 2, maybe 3 big laughs, and then the rest of it you're just kind of waiting out, biding time. You know. I feel that way about There's Something About Mary.
Nah. That movie's good.
Yeah. No, I think it's good, but I remember the fucking world went insane over that movie.
Oh yeah, the world went disproportionately crazy for that film. But
I saw it in theaters and I laughed very hard at certain scenes. But I mean, holy shit!
that happens sometimes when you're like into something, and then I feel like The Hangover was like that. I saw that movie and I was like, oh, that was all right, and then the world was like, this is the best comedy since the 80s. Like, you haven't seen anything like The Hangover since Ghostbusters.
Yep, you are absolutely right, and I agree with you about The Hangover. It's a 3-star movie.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny. Yeah.
16. Did you say yours?
No.
What is it?
The Majestic.
Okay, sure. Mine. He was on the very funny Leap Day episode of 30 Rock.
Okay. All right. Number 15, I didn't hate it as much as Dan did. I actually liked Jim Carrey in it, I think, more than the movie is any good at all. And but that's Kick-Ass 2.
Okay. 15 for me is his SNL shit.
Okay. I'm tied with Dan there, or throw me into Dan's rankings, I guess, there for that. I forgot about the lifeguard thing. Sure, there was other skits too, but
no, there were a bunch. He was great on that show.
4 times, I think. Yeah,
something like that.
I don't know why I didn't include it. You know why I didn't include him? I know why I didn't include him, because I did this via Letterboxd, not Wikipedia.
Oh, so you're not seeing his TV shit?
Didn't occur to me. I got to watch that. I got to watch that puppy. Yeah, next time I got to make sure. I always do include that shit. All right. Number 14. This movie is probably garbage, but I saw it a really long time ago, and it's amusing enough. Not a high thing here for me. That's Earth Girls Are Easy.
I fucking love Earth Girls Are Easy. You won't believe how high I have Earth Girls Are Easy.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it that good? It's been a really long time.
I adore that film. I mean, think about it. It's fucking Gina Davis at the height of her powers, man.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got yourself 3 aliens. It's Jim Carrey in living color, Jim Carrey.
Right.
It's Jeff Goldblum, as charming as he's ever been, reunited with Gina Davis as the romantic lead. And it's Damon Wayans at the very height of his powers.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
It's a very good movie. And Downtown Julie Brown's hilarious.
Didn't remember she's in it. I just remember
she wrote
Gina.
it.
I remember Gina and Jeff. Downtown Julie Brown wrote that?
Yes.
Holy shit. Wow.
Incredible film. All right, I know. My number 14, I liked this movie enough that I went and read a couple of the books afterwards, and that's Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
I had a girlfriend at the time who wanted me to read an installment of that book.
I'm pretty sure I can figure out who that is.
I don't know. Might not be who you think. No.
Oh, I was wrong. Okay.
Yeah, no. The predecessor.
Okay.
And I read one installment. It's very cute. So I didn't watch the movie. No. Yeah.
I was actually curious about the Netflix show where Neil Patrick Harris plays the Jim Carrey role. I may watch that someday.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, I
like the video here because when we don't want to say something on air, like we we're getting good at the lip reading. Dan was very, very ASL there. It was like,
I enunciate.
It was very good.
Yeah. My number. Your number 13. Excuse me, Henry.
My number 13. Look, man, I saw this in the theater. I saw it alone. I was in college. This is some days when I had that theater like literally 40 feet from my apartment. It was heaven. The Halcyon days. And I laughed. I'm sorry. I know everyone thinks it's Bruce Almighty.
I laughed.
He said with guilt.
Yeah. What was your favorite part?
When he
forced his girlfriend to have sex with him?
No, I forgot. No, when he he wants a really fancy car, so he gets like this insane. I don't even know what it is. It's like a Maserati, like the DeLorean, and he pulls into a parking spot, and someone says, "That's a nice car," and in his Jim Carrey way, he just looks at them and he goes, "It gets me from A to B."
Oh my God! I just watched Henry's face, just fondly recalling a scene from Bruce Almighty.
Only line I remember. It's the only line I remember, and it's the weird shit with him that makes me laugh, which we'll get to in Ace Ventura.
Yeah, we sure will.
Some of the broad shit doesn't get me at all. But yeah.
Number 13, Henry, is his actually very good Showtime series, a lot of which is directed by Michel Gondry. Kidding.
You've told me about that show.
Pretty good. 2 seasons. I don't know if it's coming back, but Frank Langella plays his dad, and Catherine Keener plays his sister, and Judy Greer as his ex-wife. It's quite good.
Judy Greer.
Greer. Your Halloween LVP.
Oh, Judy Greer. Who am I?
You're thinking of Janet McTeer. McTeer and Greer. McTeer and Greer. Let's call the whole thing off.
It's a homonym. It's a homonym. It's a homonym.
It's not. It just rhymes.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It's not a homonym. All right. Number 12, The Deadpool.
Okay. My number 12 is the very fine Francis Ford Coppola comedy, Peggy Sue Got Married.
That's higher on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that movie. Okay, number 11. I don't know. This might be the only movie on my list that Dan hasn't seen, but I'm probably wrong. It's a documentary called Jim and Andy.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Oh, you saw it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's very good. It's not excellent, but it's
the
pretty
documentary good. Isn't that good, but the footage they have is unbelievable.
Yeah, the footage they have is fantastic, and you're right. The execution isn't top notch, though. Yeah, but that was entertaining. I watched that like a year ago. That was pretty cool.
Mm.
And now we're like into, I'd say, from Deadpool down, solid movies.
These are the Jim Carrey classics.
For me, I think they are. Yeah, for me. Yeah.
Number 11, I think, is the worst of his most popular movies. Did you go to 11?
No, I didn't go
Sorry, Henry.
I did. That was Jim and Andy.
Okay.
Sorry.
Number 11. It's very popular. It's one of his big movies, but I always thought it was just okay. But it's still got some classic lines. If I'm going on too long about this, Henry, somebody stop me. It's The Mask.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Saw it in theaters. Don't know if I saw it again. Made a big impression on me. Made me laugh.
It was the follow-up to Ace. It came out that summer, and it was just a magical time, Henry. It was the year of Jim Carrey.
It sure was. I saw all that shit in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Number 10. I was hard on this movie when I saw it and on Letterboxd and in my memory, and I am a huge fan of Andy Kaufman. I've watched weird shit like Breakfast with Blassie. Did you ever see that?
Yes, I have. It has a 5 on Letterboxd.
That's great. Oh, I didn't put it on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
But Man on the Moon always just left me a little cold. But it's a good movie. I think it was another movie that was just really, really hyped, even so much by Jim Carrey himself.
It was hyped. It was hyped because of Jim Carrey, because there were so many news stories before the movie came out about how he was being Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, and so I thought it was a little bit. It wasn't as deep as I thought it was going to go, and especially I think my letdown was that it was Milos Forman who directed that, and I guess I thought it would be something a little different, and it was. But I think it was also, that's kind of the point, was that it was Andy Kaufman, and some of the tone really wasn't supposed to be that
Yeah,
deep.
I mean, I think a lot of people were looking for a People versus Larry Flint sequel from that movie, and it really wasn't.
No, it's really not. But it's still number 10 on my list.
Well, my number 10 is Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, I believe is the full title.
Okay, I like to see that. Very close. Number 9, for me, I saw this on TV. I would have never seen this in theater. I don't know why I watched it, but I remember it being very fucking funny, and it's not my type of movie. It's got little kids in it. They're annoying. They're precious. He's mugging, but he's always mugging, so that's okay. It's a dumb story. It's a terrible premise, but I laughed a lot, and that is Liar Liar.
Okay, first of all, that's my number 9 as well. And how is that a bad premise? It's a really good premise.
Because I guess maybe at the time it was new, but now that shit's been done so many times. 1,000 words. You can't. There's always like a stipulation on somebody. Who's
I understand. I know. Yes, man. Even to some degree.
Yeah. Right. But when I saw it, it made me laugh a lot. Consistently a lot.
It's a very funny movie. It's like an hour and 25 minutes long. It fucking goes down easy. You've got Maura Tierney as the female lead, who's great. You've got Jennifer Tilly at her fucking bound sexiest. I'm telling you, Liar Liar is an unsung movie. I know it's not a cool movie, because it's sort of Capra-esque, in a more comedic way than The Majestic was.
Well, but it's mainstream. I thought that's what you meant, but who cares, right? I mean...
No, I know. It is. It's a totally just mainstream Hollywood bullshit movie. It's Hollywood trash, but it's funny. Very good Hollywood trash. That's my number 9.
It's very funny. We agree on that. We've had a few exactamundos here. Yeah, good. Nice to see. Number 8, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Okay, taking that in. My number 8 is Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, all right. My number 7, boy, after I said Ace Ventura with that reaction, I don't think I'm going to get a good reaction on this one. But, I watched this movie with, I think somebody told me it was funny and I'd like it and I shouldn't be such a snob. That was, I remember the literal words. And so I was like, fine, I'll watch it. And it was very fucking funny. I'm sorry. It's another apology.
Oh, I know what this is.
So this is the incredible Burt Wonderstone.
Wow, number 7.
It's
That's
funny.
Better than Ace Ventura?
Ace has got some issues.
Of course it does. It has some major issues. But
it's in my top 10. Number 8.
I know, but you've already mentioned so many movies that are better than the incredible Burt Wonderstone. Don't juice my fat cousin's ego.
Gotta get your fat cousin on the show, man.
Hell yeah, we should reach out to him. Yeah, follow him on Twitter, Joshua Ehrenberg.
There you go.
Don't tell him I called him my fat cousin repeatedly.
No, please don't.
Number 7 is In Living Color. What an incredible show, and Jim Carrey was an integral part of it.
He really, really was. I watched every episode of that when it was coming out. Well, you weren't really alive, were you?
Oh, maybe, but I do remember watching them live, maybe just the last couple seasons, and then I later watched them all. Yeah,
it went into the 90s. I never found Fire Marshal Bill funny at all.
Always did. Loved him.
Yeah, I never found it funny even as a kid, but everything else he did on there I thought was great. Nice choice. All right.
That hep, 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 hep laugh he does in Ace Ventura, that's taken from Fire Marshal Bill, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's a lot taken from taken stuff.
Yeah. It's sort of a great... Ace Ventura is sort of a greatest hits of like the first 10 years of Jim Carrey's career.
I had not realized that until this viewing. I was like, holy shit, he's just sort of doing... I mean, which is fine. This is his big debut.
Yeah, this is his big break, man. He's given... This really is a star, not a star, but like a fledgling comedian laying it all on the line and giving absolutely every ounce of himself to an 80-minute movie.
This is absolutely true. All right, number 6. I would like to watch this again. I'm sure it's quite funny. And I loved it when I saw it in the theater. And that is The Mask.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I remember Cameron Diaz.
She's so fucking sexy in that movie.
I didn't even think she was human when I saw that. I was like, wait, what is happening here? Who is this? Because I don't even think I knew who she was.
No, this was like I think it was like an introducing Cameron Diaz situation.
Part of our sister show.
Oh my God. I'm right now I'm in the middle of George Romero's Monkey Shines in Experiment in Fear.
I saw that like 30 years ago.
Yeah. I watched it with my sister when I was a kid, and I haven't seen it since. But at the beginning of that movie, in the credits, it says, and introducing Boo as Ella. It's the monkey. And the first thought I had was like, what a great episode for the And Introducing show.
That is. I wonder if Boo had more to do. Maybe Boo was in this.
Who knows?
That's Boo the monkey in there, hashing out the plot of the problems at the end there.
All right. Yeah, wow. Number 6 for me is Man on the Moon.
Okay. All right. That's high. All right. Here we go. It is time. I'd had it up, and then a telemarketer called me, so it off my screen. But here we go.
Heavy hitters. These are the grand slams, the slap shots, the three-pointers, the touchdowns, the curling when the puck gets close to the circle. These are the heavy hitters of the franchise. Heavy hitter.
Worth the wait.
Absolutely. Number 5. Saw it in the theater. I don't know what it is, man. I guess in the 90s, I was just going through this period where I didn't know what to expect sometimes from Jim Carrey. And I maybe I had a fixed idea.
They were all big movies, dude.
Yeah, maybe that's what
they were like tentpole releases.
Yeah, and I wasn't old enough, even though I think when Truman Show came out, which I just gave away my number 5. It's Truman Show. Great. I wasn't old enough to be, even though I was 20, to be critically discerning enough to ignore the noise and just watch a movie for what it was. And I just went in there with these expectations that were through the roof. And I did really like the movie, but it's never been something I've felt much of a need to go back to very often, if ever. And but it is an excellent movie. So it is number 5, Truman Show.
Great. My number 5, Henry, is the film he got paid $20 million for and let everybody down except for the faithful few who like his dark shit. And that's The Cable Guy.
Okay. That's number 4?
5.
5. Top 5. I am very glad to see that. I figured it would make your top 5. Yeah. All right, number 4, another one I saw in the theater. This is crazy. I'm not just realizing this as I'm going down how many I saw in the theater. Another one, it's got some stupid shit, but most of it's stupid, and I did laugh my fucking tits off, and that is Dumb and Dumber.
It's a great film, Henry.
It's hysterical. I mean, it really is so stupid in every conceivable way, and it's just hilarious.
But it's the kind of stupid. There are stupid movies that you can tell are being written and produced by smart people.
Oh, absolutely. You're totally right.
And it's a totally different vibe than when you're watching a stupid movie that is obviously written by stupid people.
Yeah, no, it is. And Jeff Daniels is a weird. I always thought that was a strange partner for him.
It was a bold choice by the Farrellys.
It really was. Yeah, but that one works. In fact, it might. Is that my favorite Farrelly Brothers movie? It might be. I don't know.
I think it is mine. Yeah, it'd be like. I mean, they're really good movies. They're that, Kingpin, and Something About Mary. And
never saw Kingpin.
Oh, really? You'd love Kingpin.
I know. I never saw Kingpin. It's a huge
You'd
gap.
Love that movie, Henry. That's like their Cable Guy.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I've been hearing that for 23 years. I gotta see Kingpin. So
Yeah.
we should.
Okay. 4. Did you say yours?
Dumber, yeah.
Dumb and Dumber, of course. My number 4, get ready, guys. I'm about to say a movie, and even though it is number 4 on my list, in the top 5, Henry's still going to get annoyed that it's not higher. And so my number 4 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Look, you got Cable Guy and Eternal Sunshine in your top 5, so that's okay. I already know what's going to be one of the movies in your top 3, and I'm already a little surprised, but in a strange way, proud.
Okay.
Number 3, this movie's hysterical, and I gotta say this movie is great because of I don't even remember Jim Carrey in it. So this movie, Nick Cage is fucking genius in this movie, and so is Kathleen Turner, and that's Peggy Sue Got Married. That is
it's really good. It could be higher on my list.
People need to see that movie. I mean, I feel like people just forgot that existed.
I feel like that film sort of goes awry in the third act.
Well, the other thing is I don't think that's a movie that everyone would like. It's not. It's a very kind of niche-y.
It's a weird one.
It's a weird movie, but it's really good. It's yeah. All right.
Nick Cage is so fucking good in that movie.
He's so hysterical. I mean, he's great in that
Intentionally hysterical, assholes.
Yes, this is true.
My number 3 is Dumb and Dumber, baby.
Okay. Oh, wow. All right. So these top 2 were very easy for me, as were my bottom 2. My bottom 2 with The Grinch and Batman Forever, that was immediate. I didn't have to do any thinking there. And I almost struggled with the top 2's placement, but I'm not worried about it because it's got both aspects of Jim Carrey that I love and the best that he is at them. And that is number 2, a movie that I laughed more probably than any other Jim Carrey movie I've ever seen and still do, and that is the classic critical disappointment, The Cable Guy.
Great. All right.
It's a masterpiece.
It's great.
I love that movie. Everything about that movie works. Yep.
My number 2 is one of the bravest comedies I can ever remember seeing, and that's Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Wow. Okay. Like I said, I'm proud of you. I will get into why that you like it so much. I liked it too, obviously. Number 2, Jim Carrey. Is it the because of the seminal nature of it?
Maybe that's a part of it, but to me, this is like a performer bleeding on the floor, giving absolutely everything to his art.
Yeah.
It was astonishing to watch. There are certain comedies to me that feel that way, and they're always kind of dumb on the surface. Another one is Freddy Got Fingered. That to me is just Tom Green laying it all on the fucking line. Worked out better for Jim Carrey, thankfully. Yeah. But we'll talk about the movie in detail. I really loved it, and to me, despite its obvious and blatant transphobia, is a very fine film.
Okay. And the best movie that Jim Carrey's ever been in is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And I love that movie. And that was, I think, the role that I had been waiting to see him do dramatically for many, many years. That's what I saw. I guess that's what I wanted from a production like The Truman Show. Other good movies, but that was the one that I was like, okay, this is where he belongs, in a great dramatic performance of this caliber with no hype and with a genius for a director. So I'm happy with that number 1 place.
All right, let's ease on the G word from Michel Gondry.
Movie's pretty ingenious.
Yeah. Have you seen Science of Sleep?
Yeah,
fucking Emperor's New Clothes.
I did see that.
All right, my number one, I think, is the only masterpiece he's ever been in, and an incredible film for anticipating what television would become. And I think it's Jim Carrey's best performance. I think it's one of Laura Linney's. I think Noah Emmerich is great in this. I'm obviously talking about Peter Weir's great The Truman Show.
Yeah, you're a huge fan of that. I figured that would be up there. I wasn't sure it'd be number one. Yeah, I mean, we both had in our top 5 this same movies, almost the same list.
Similar stuff.
I just got Peggy in there, and you put something else. I think the rest are the same.
I put Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
That's correct. Yeah. All right, Daniel. That's Jim Carrey.
Let's talk about Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Oh my God! How did it take this long?
I know. Well, I said.
Oh, you did. That was your name, Papal. Righty then.
No, it was actually Hank Ventura. And then I said, all righty then.
You should have said your name is Henry Papali. Papal righty then.
You're right. That was a really great joke.
All right. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. It had been written years earlier by this fellow by the name of Jack Bernstein. Okay?
Yeah. All right.
You familiar with him?
No, I'm going to pull it up. I'm pulling it up.
I mean, he was getting his start. He was a TV writer. This was like his first film. He wrote it on spec, but it was bought by a studio. He's gone on to write for TV. It's very inauspicious shit, just like a staff writer on a lot of different shows. Okay. NCIS, Monk.
Yeah.
That kind of shit. Then that got passed off. They signed Jim Carrey to the role. Of course, it was originally offered to Rick Moranis.
Jesus, I didn't remember that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could you imagine?
I cannot.
Could you imagine if Rick Moranis was allowed to go as balls to the wall with the script as Jim Carrey was?
And then, Dan and I, we're Rick Moranis fans, but what are they? When would that have been?
This was right around the time of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I think he had like a little clout.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. All right. Yeah, sure. Okay.
All right. Jeez. So then, in consideration for the role was Judd Nelson for a little bit, which is a weird decision. Then Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman?
As Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. That would have been a different tone, I think.
I think slightly. Yeah. What the fuck, man?
And then they considered going gender flip with it, and this actually makes the most sense to me. Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, I mean, they would have let her run wild, and it would have been awful.
She could have... You can picture Whoopi Goldberg in a Pet Detective movie.
Yeah, but I can't picture Whoopi Goldberg acting really, really stupid, like making an ass of herself.
Yeah, well, they would have to rewrite it, which is what they did. Yeah. When Jim Carrey signed on, and they got Tom Shadyac to direct, they went in and rewrote it together to suit Jim Carrey's talents.
I would have to.
Yeah.
He had a co-writing credit, right?
Correct. We should talk a little bit about Tom Shadyac, the wonderful...
Yeah, you said something on our last show that we're going to be covering. What did you say? The insufferable or the awful? Now, that made me curious. What do you know that I don't?
All right. So this guy, Tom Shadyac, he started his career as just this mainstream trash Hollywood director, but he made a few good movies. So prior to Ace Ventura, he did something called Frankenstein: The College Years. I don't know what that is. But then Ace Ventura, he followed Ace Ventura with The Nutty Professor.
Boo.
All right, but it was a huge hit.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And then he follows that up, goes back to Jim Carrey. They make Liar, Liar.
Okay.
All right.
It's all right so far.
Okay, but then something happens. He decides he's going to make some dramas. He wants to make real films, Henry. So first he makes Patch Adams.
Yeah, that's pretty... that's a deep dive into healthcare. Yeah.
And then
sort of the dark waters of Robin Williams.
Yes. And then, of course, the Kevin Costner Goes to Africa movie, Dragonfly.
Dragonfly! And no, I did not see Dragonfly, okay? So don't ask.
Okay. No. So then he made Bruce Almighty, right?
Okay.
Followed Bruce Almighty up with Evan Almighty, baby.
Didn't see it.
Okay. Yeah. So then, listen to this.
Okay, uh-oh.
What happens is he gets in a bicycling accident or something, and he gets a bad concussion. All right? Okay. And since his life has been so charmed up to this point, the concussion is so life-changing that he decides he's going to devote his life to the good of the world. He's been wasting his life making comedy movies that people enjoy, and so instead, this martyr piece of shit. My head hurts. He gives away all of his money to various charities. Okay. Listen, I'm not saying he's a bad person. He's just a piece of shit.
I'm waiting.
He gives away all his money to various charities. He moves into a trailer park. Okay. Pretty a little demonstrative, if you ask me.
So I'd say the concussion did a little more brain damage than just him coming to Jesus.
Mm-hmm. But then the worst thing he did was make a documentary about his trials and travails, which is supposed to be like an Inconvenient Truth kind of thing, where it's like, we gotta fix the world.
Oh, boy.
Okay, but in actuality, the entire movie is just about how Tom Shadyac had a bad concussion and fucking gave his money away.
Is that I Am?
I Am, yeah. Okay. And then he didn't work for 8 years after that, and then he made some Christian football movie with Greg Kinnear.
Now I really don't like him. Okay. Yeah. I saw something about how he devoted his life to God, and I was out. But, I didn't know all that lead up. My goodness gracious.
Yeah, he's an incredible person.
Tom Shady indeed.
Mm-hmm. So February 4th, 1994, this film is released. What a landmark day it was. It had a budget of $15 million, Henry, and it made $107.2 million at the box office.
Wow.
Massive hit. Anything over $100 million in the 90s was, like, huge.
Oh, yeah. And that's a low budget for, like, all the people they got in this thing. Like, they got Sean Young, they got Dan Marino, they got Don Shula, they got all these dolphins.
Henry.
Those guys want money.
They don't. They want cameos. The NFL back then was not what it was now. What it is now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's ridiculous. Nobody was in this movie. Even Courtney Cox. This is pre-Friends, baby.
Yeah, that's true. Because what movie is it? Who is it in Funny People? Who? No. In the Bill Hader, Amy Schumer movie.
Trainwreck.
Yeah, who's the athlete in that they got?
LeBron.
LeBron.
Yeah, he probably got fucking paid.
That's what I was thinking. Like but you're right. In the 90s, they were just like, Dan Marino's like, oh shit, I got to go inside of a movie. That's cool. Yeah, that's right.
Your Dan Marino impression?
Well, he went to this. We went to the same high school and college. Dan Marino and I.
Same year.
I was ahead of him.
Yeah,
I'm older than Dan Marino. Right. Yeah, I had to deal my entire time in high school with every fucking class I was in, with some teacher saying, Dan Marino sat in that chair.
Oh God!
I'm not kidding.
That's awful.
It was pretty awful. Yeah, that was their fucking claim to fame. And now they got Zach Quinto, which I love because that's their most famous alumni for that Catholic fucking repressive.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it was number 16 for 1994 at the box office between two space movies, Stargate and Star Trek Generations.
Weird. Okay, I saw Stargate.
Stargate's great. Roland Emmerich, baby.
That's Kurt Russell, right?
Hell yeah.
and Davidson, who's referenced in this movie.
That's right. She sure is. And Star Trek Generations, of course, is the Shatner-Stewart crossover film.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That sounded like Stefan right there, right?
I don't know. I haven't thought about Stefan in a while. All right.
Awesome.
H-Dog, this film has been nominated for some awards.
I wasn't ready for this. All right. I really wasn't. Okay.
All right, well, we'll start with an easy one. How about some MTV Movie Awards?
Okay, we can do that, I think. I want my MTV.
Wow, as good as ever. Because it's a recording and it's the same thing every time. Henry, this film, Jim Carrey, all the nominations are just Jim Carrey. It's never the movie.
No. Yeah.
Jim Carrey was nominated for Best Comedic Performance of the Year, and he lost, unfortunately, to Mr. Robin Williams for Mrs. Doubtfire.
Ooh. Okay. I mean, I get it.
It was a drive-by fruiting.
Drive-by fruiting.
Hello!
Yeah. Hello.
Yo, remember when his daughter walks in on him with his dick out?
Vaguely.
He's like
Go
pissing
ahead.
or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That movie is one of the
It's
most
wild.
Yeah, it's one of the most insufferable examples of Robin Williams being saccharine, and everything, all the music is terrible, and the kids are terrible.
Ugh, and Sally Field sucks.
Yeah, but there are funny moments, man, and that last dinner sequence is very funny.
You know why? Because it's got my boy Pierce.
Dude, it's a funny scene.
Yeah.
But best performance, I mean, I don't know. That's nice, though, that they gave it's MTV. That's nice they gave him a nomination. I'm sure he was excited.
He was probably thrilled. I'm sure he showed up. All right. Let's see. How about this? Here's the next one. We've not done this awards show, Henry, but I'd like to hear a theme. This was the first ever Blockbuster Entertainment Awards.
Okay, yeah, let's see what I can get here. Some of my files. Blockbuster Video got awards. What a difference.
I really liked it. Hey, Merlis, record that.
There we go. We need it.
Okay. Jim Carrey won 2 awards at the first annual Blockbuster Entertainment Awards.
Nice.
Yeah, Best Comedic Performance and Best Newcomer.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, even though he made his first film in 1983. Okay. I get it, though. All right. How about the Golden Raspberries, Henry?
Ooh. It's been a while since we did that, Jibberty Jam. Oh, so long since. There we go. Here we are.
It's the raspberries, no razzmatazz. All we're lacking is a little pizzazz, 'cause it's the golden raspberries. It's the worst of the worst, not the best of the best. It's pizzazz gone raz.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's always one of those ones where you really see that the effort that I put into that was huge. I mean, the vocal, I make that like Axl Rose.
I thought you had those made, Henry.
That was one of the, it's a mix. I split them.
Okay.
That one's me. I didn't ship that out to my guy.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta say, he was nominated for Worst New Star at the Golden Raspberries.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
He did lose, though, to Anna Nicole Smith for her great performance in Naked Gun 33 1/3, The Final Insult.
Ooh.
R.I.P. to Anna Nicole Smith. I'd like to dedicate today's show to Alexander Godunov, and Anna Nicole Smith.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought we already had, Alexander Godunov there. All right, yeah, sure. Two dedicates. It's 4 years.
2 icons of culture.
We could have 4 dedicate.
What a great show this is. Henry, let's hear that Kids' Choice Awards theme.
All right. Yeah. No. It's there, so why not play it? You know, it's been available for a while there.
Yeah, the blimps.
The Kids' Choice Awards. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the Kids' Choice Awards. It's KCA to you, but it's the kids making the choice. Yeah.
I would have thought they'd mention slime or something, but
it's the first iteration of the theme.
Fun funk jam.
The later ones, they definitely want to repeat the theme, so they say making the choice 3 times.
Sure.
Kids need to remember a hook.
Yeah, so. Well, I'll tell you, Jim Carrey was nominated for Best Actor, and he won.
That's good.
He was the winner.
You'd have voted for him at that KCA.
I'm sure I watched that.
Oh, I'd never heard of it. Okay.
It was the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. I think they still exist, Henry.
No, I don't doubt it.
And Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, I lied, was nominated for Best Picture at the Kids' Choice Awards.
Oh.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
It's not really a kid's. Like, there's a blowjob joke in the first 5 minutes.
There's a sex scene. There's a sex scene.
There's a full-on sex scene. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is not. Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
But it lost to The Lion King.
Yeah, probably a bit. I mean, not a good movie, but probably better choice.
It is a good movie.
I never saw The Lion King.
Oh, come now. The original Lion King?
I don't watch movies that are composed by Alan Menken if I can help it.
We'll cover it. Bitch.
What a threat. The venom in that. We'll cover it.
Motherfuck. All right. Let's talk about it. Ace Ventura, Pet Dick.
I feel like we should.
Yeah. Considering we're over an hour into the show. All right. It starts with his feet a-walking. I remember that much. And then he's an HDS, by the way. He's a delivery guy, right? He's dressed up as a delivery guy in this opening sequence.
UPS.
UPS, but in the movie it's HDS, which I took note of because I was like, oh, it's interesting that Harry Dean Stanton would own a delivery service. Anyway, fucking, he walks up to this building. He's holding the box, and he's just breaking it on everything, throwing it around, tossing it with his feet. He gets on the elevator, lets the elevator fucking close on it. You know what I liked? When he goes to open the front door, and he just lets it slide down the stairs.
That whole scene was funny, man. I was laughing the whole thing.
It's a great bit.
It is a great bit, and then when he tees it off to kick it, what does he say?
It's going downtown.
Oh my God! It's like one of those things where I don't feel like why is this funny? I shouldn't be laughing, and it's hysterical.
It's funny. Hysterical. It's funny. You know why though? I gotta give Tom Shadyac some credit because whoever did the fucking what's it called? Sound effects.
Sound
design? Sound effects, those guys?
Yeah.
The sound of the glass in the box is it's perfectly pronounced.
Okay, wow, what an observation. Yeah, there's something broken.
Yeah. What are they called? I keep thinking it's boom guys, but it's not. The guys, no. You know when you see them in the studio and they're like hitting shit and they're walking, they're making noises.
Oh, yeah. You're not talking about the guy in Living in Oblivion who sits with their headphones the whole time, right?
No, not that guy.
Yeah,
that's the recordist.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, though. They actually.
This is going to be driving people nuts listening to this because it's a really obvious thing that we both should know.
It's literally the guys who find the sounds that make it into the movie. They need glass to be crunching, so they all get glass and they throw it against the wall 100 times. Yeah.
I think those guys deserve credit for this film.
I think you're right.
Thank you.
Right. So, yeah.
All right. So he gets to the guy's door. It's Randall Tex Cobb. And love him.
Yeah, it's great in everything he's in, man. Mm-hmm. Raising Arizona. He's in Fletch Lives, which was horrible.
Yeah. But he's hilarious in this scene.
Golden Child.
Horrible movie.
Right, great thing. Yeah, he is. He's very funny in this.
And Jim Carrey goes down to pet that dog and makes little doggy noises. I mean, Jim Carrey is doing something in every frame of this film. On the couple of occasions where he's on screen and there are two characters that aren't him talking to each other and he's silent, I'm always watching him.
Yeah, that's what he commands. He commands that kind of thing. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I found it at a certain point a tad exhausting. But...
It is exhausting, but I think that's the charm of it. Like something like The Mask is exhausting in a different way because like everything he's doing is in service to the story and it's aided by special effects and he's being funny in a big Hollywood movie. I mean, this thing is not really a movie. It's just a reel.
Yeah, it's like a long sketch.
Yeah, it's a reel. It's just a calling card for Jim Carrey.
You're right. It's kind of like if he was auditioning, he'd be like, "I made this movie called Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. Just you can watch that. You can see everything I could do, pretty much."
Yeah,
yeah. He steals the dog, and then there's a car chase.
That dog is cute.
I don't like that.
Fuck you! That dog is cute.
I don't like Shih Tzus.
Oh my god, that thing is.
Yeah, I'm a beagle. I like little wiener dogs. I like short haired.
When the Shih Tzu in the car is like, "You hungry, fella?" and he holds his paw up, and Jim Carrey opens up the little tray of food for him.
Sure, in the ashtray, which was very funny.
Yes.
I like that. He pulls the ashtray. Yeah, it's a cute scene. I just don't, the dog doesn't do anything for me. You give me a dachshund, I'm in.
Yeah. So then Tex is all, get away from the door, and realizes the dog isn't there. And he comes down with a baseball bat and chases Jim Carrey for a while. And that's actually kind of a funny car chase.
Yeah,
it's not really a car chase, but it kind of is.
It's a foot-to-car chase, yeah.
Sure.
And then... he delivers the dog to the lady.
This woman.
Who turns out to be his Randall Tex Cobb's, I guess, ex-wife, which makes it even funnier. Because she says, like, did daddy hurt? So it was like, because at first I was like, why the fuck does this guy have this dog? And then I was like, oh, okay, all right. And that just made it even funnier. And go ahead, this lady.
This woman gave me a warped perception of what women are. At the age of 7. And it's because of her boobs. I'll say it right here. They are weird. There are many brands, boob jobs. People shouldn't have had any boob jobs until like the 2000s because any boob job from the 80s or 90s looks fucking gross to me.
She was a Playmate of the Year.
I'm not shocked. These things, they don't look like boobs. They're just fucking circles on her chest.
I didn't notice.
Just big round things.
I just kind of looked at them and accepted them.
I was never able to accept these. And I really think there are brands of breasts that I was expecting to encounter in the wild upon aging into sexual manhood that I have not encountered. And I think it's because they are of a certain age. These types of breasts do not exist anymore.
You got to find yourself a 60-year-old woman.
I think you really do, honestly.
And then you'll see it.
Yeah.
Up close. Yeah.
All right. So, he asks for payment, and she says she doesn't have money. Do you want a blowjob? And he says yes. And she gives him the most aggressive blowjob you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, or at least in his mind, because he's doing like chin-ups, holding some pipes.
What is he holding? I've always wondered that. What is he hanging on to in that fucking scene?
I don't know. I imagine there's like those pipes that run across in cheap apartments, and we had those in our fucking shithole in Brooklyn.
We did?
Yeah, we had. I think I had one in my room, like ran through.
Yeah, you had a lot of weird shit going on in that room. There was a hole in the floor. We didn't know where it went.
I had a hole in my floor?
Yes!
Where was the hole in my floor?
There was a hole. Just a black hole, like a fucking sinkhole, in the front of your room, near the wall. And I think you put books over it because you were weirded out. You didn't know where it went.
Oh, wow. I don't remember that.
Yeah,
God.
man.
God, that apartment. Oh, my God. We could do a whole show just on that apartment.
Yeah, man. We were starving artists making no art.
Ain't that the truth? No heat, fleas.
Yeah, we had fleas.
But that bathroom was really
We had to
beautiful.
turn the chair over at night or else the cat would piss on it. Oh my God, that fucking place. The lights would go out occasionally. You'd have to leave the apartment and go find some guy.
Yes, that guy that almost murdered you. That we went down to
yeah. I got into like a thing with him.
Yeah, I thought you were going to die. The fuse box. Yeah, I had to find the fuse box. That was kind of me. I was a little bit kind of the handyman of the house, and I'm not handy in any way.
Yeah, no, for sure. You were doing more of that, though.
I tried to figure out solutions.
You fixed the shower.
I got it fixed.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Right, yeah. And I got the exterminator to take care of the fleas.
That's right. Yeah, and you had to fight for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, Henry. All right, so he goes home after his blowjob, after he dukes one, and he's got to hide from his landlord who he owes rent to. And his landlord is, of course, the great Hector Salamanca from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
That was funny. I didn't remember Mark Margolis was in this. And of
this
course,
is what I knew Mark Margolis from for years.
Really?
Every time I would see him in anything, I would be like, oh, it's the landlord from Ace Ventura.
That's funny. And of course, I laughed again when he says, Ventura.
Yes, Satan? No, I liked when he walks by the window holding that big fern. I found that very funny.
The whole thing was very funny. Yeah.
All right.
And then he shakes he doesn't want the landlord to know he has pets, so he jiggles the keys like 3 times
as a signal. Yeah. And then he goes in, all his pets come out, and it's cute.
Stupid. Oh my God.
The penguin coming through the refrigerator was my favorite.
That was awesome. The seal coming out of the toilet.
Yes. That's weird.
Good. Very weird.
Then later on when he vomits, I was like, why are you fucking vomiting into your seal's habitat?
Yeah. You know what was refreshing to not see? It's just popping in my head now. I'm really glad, maybe Jim Carrey had something to do with this. You don't see any, like, insects, and that's nice. You'd think you'd see, like,
Jim Carrey had something to do with that?
Maybe he didn't like him. Maybe he didn't want him around, like a giant tarantula. Like if somebody was casting me and said, all right, animals love you, Henry. Is there anything that we can't put on you or near? And I'd be like, yeah, I don't want any giant insects. That'd be my
tarantulas were, I feel like, a popular thing in movies in the early 90s.
Yeah.
There was one in Home Alone.
Ugh, fucking nasty. But anyway, yeah, the animal scene's hysterical. And where do we go from there? Do we go to Joe Robbie Stadium?
Yeah, I think we set up the plot at Joe Robbie Stadium where the Dolphins are about to compete in the Super Bowl inexplicably in their own stadium.
Great point.
Never happened before.
No.
Okay, so what is it? It's a dolphin. They have a mascot who's a dolphin because they're the Miami Dolphins, and its name is Snowflake, and it gets stolen in the middle of the night. You get to see that.
Yeah.
And then we set up the cast, and it's like the guy's, you find that fish or find new jobs.
I love that guy. That character actor is hysterical.
Yeah, he's great.
He's in a lot of shit. And he ran for Congress once as a Republican in Texas. Yeah, you learn a lot of things when you do superhero counts. And,
yeah, sure. Yeah. But the team here is Courtney Cox and Troy something Evans.
Padoctor.
It's Roger Padoctor.
Right.
Every time
Great
he's
name.
come up on the podcast, I don't know if you've even noticed, I have referred to that actor as Roger Padoctor.
Probably not.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I did that with a few people from this movie, frankly.
Oh,
There's also the cop later. Every time he's shown up in anything we do for the podcast, I refer to him as Aguado.
Aguado. That one I do remember your references. Yeah. Aguado.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so Courtney Cox and Roger Padoctor are charged with finding this dolphin before the Super Bowl, basically, which is in a week.
Yeah, that's right. They got to find Snowflake.
And someone in their office says that when she lost her cat or something, she hired Ace Ventura, pet detective.
That's right.
And she had a great experience with him. And I'd love to see what that looks like, what a really normal experience is with Ace Ventura. Like, he comes in, you hire him, he goes and finds a thing, and he comes back with it, and just, transaction completed.
Well, I
can't picture that.
I can't either. I imagine I had the same thought. I was like, did he sit down and just have tea afterward? Or probably what happened is, and probably one of the reasons he's so poor and needs to find that albino pigeon.
That's right.
Is he probably just got another Hummer from that old lady?
That's a great point. That's the problem with this Ace Ventura. He's going around going around town accepting BJs instead of cash.
Yeah, I think that's why he's strapped.
Bro, get
money.
that cash. You can use some of it to get a BJ.
You could use some of it for that. Maybe take a date out to a nice dinner somewhere.
Date.
But
who's this guy dating? I mean, Courtney Cox being interested in this guy is mind blowing.
It's awesome. Yeah, that's that's part of the movie's charm. I realized when I was watching it, because it's like obviously in no universe, but this is also a universe where he catches a bullet with his teeth. So
that's honestly my least favorite moment in the entire movie.
Because it breaks.
It's the only thing that really fully breaks the spell of the movie.
Yeah. You're probably right. Because otherwise,
and because so much of the comedy is generated by Jim Carrey that I don't need a visual sight gag involving a special effect.
Yeah, because he's the sight gag.
Exactly, he's enough.
The scene that made me laugh a lot was when he was inspecting the fish tank.
Well, frankly, before that, he goes to learn about the case and eats sunflower seeds during it, and I found that very funny.
That was very funny, too.
And she asks him if he needs an ashtray, and he says, I don't smoke. It's a disgusting habit.
How a lot of these actors could keep a straight face was tough.
I mean, I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure it was edited.
I don't think they did anyway, because there's several scenes where you can see them.
Well, Courtney really Cox especially, you really see her break a few times.
Yeah. And anyway,
I was actually impressed by Tone Loc's ability to keep a straight face.
Tone Loc was great, man.
It's an incredible performance from Tone Loc.
I love Tone Loc. He's in Heat the year after this.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the movies, man.
Tone Loc had quite an acting career going there in the 90s.
He did. He was in quite a few things.
Yeah, he's the limo driver in Blank Check.
Okay.
Right. I'm looking him up right now because I remember him being in so many things. He's of course in Car 54. Where are you? Oh, he's the cop who's friends with them in Surf Ninjas. Mm-hmm. He shows up in Poetic Justice.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
An incredible actor. Oh, and of course, excuse me, I have to bring this up because he was in a cartoon that I watched that I bring up to people and nobody has ever heard of it. And so shout me out on text me or not tweet me, but email me. Fucking Seabear and Jamal, okay?
Never heard of it.
No one's ever heard of it. It's this cartoon, and it's a little black kid named Jamal, and he has a teddy bear, and he's a cool teddy bear, Henry, and he wears sunglasses, and he has the voice of Tone Loc, and his name is Seabear.
That makes sense.
And the show was called Seabear and Jamal, and when they went to commercial, it would always go, Seabear and Jamal!
Should I hire that guy? 'Cause I think he could help me on my team. That sounds like my kind of theme song, baby.
I know.
Tone Loc, the original Funky Cole Medina.
That's right. And by the way, Henry, I might be bringing it up a little early, but the closing credits song he put together, sampling TNT by AC/DC.
Oh my God! I listened to all the credits. I didn't catch that.
The whole song is built around a TNT sample. Dun 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 dun.
I thought of that more as the Beastie Boys' "Fight for Your Right."
Oh.
I didn't think that because the dun 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 dun.
I looked it up to double check, bro.
And they said that?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm gonna have to listen to.
I mean, they might have flattened out the guitars or something to make it slower or something.
Weird. Okay, but they don't do any of the chanting or vocals.
No, nothing like that.
Just the guitar riff.
The guitar.
Right, interesting.
That song he wrote for the film, Henry. It's called "Ace is in the House," and the lyrics really went all out explaining the film.
Yeah, it did. It did. I mean, I wasn't. I had it on. I was already back on Wikipedia reading stuff about the movie, but yeah. He
goes through every bit of Ace Ventura's life, point by point, describes it all for you in rhyme, and when he's describing Ace Ventura's physical appearance, I found it interesting that when he got to the hair, he described it as a Dutchman's haircut.
A Dutchman's haircut, like the Flying Dutchman? What could that mean?
I don't know. Like, this is how a Dutch guy does his hair.
Sure, in Amsterdam,
in the Netherlands, yeah.
The swoop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay. Talk about your favorite inspecting the tank scene.
That shit when he goes into the fish tank, and the press starts coming by, and Courtney Cox is telling him to get out, and he just answers her in fucking Star Trek characters for no reason other than to show he can do them. It struck me as so funny. Like, the Shatner bit was funny, but it was funnier when he's looking into the fisheye lens. And she's like, Ace, you got to get out of there. And he does Scotty, and then he does Bones. And it's just something so fucking stupid about it that was so funny. It's like, I don't know why. Pivotal moment.
It is funny.
Yeah.
It fucking is, bro. And his physicality is so good. The way he fucking takes off his sunglasses with a big flourish. He's good. All right. The way he jumps down after saying, if I'm not back in 5 minutes, just wait longer. Good stuff. All right.
It's the throwaways like that I found way funnier than like ass talking.
Well, let's get into it. He goes to
made me laugh once.
He goes to visit the police station. First, he has a run-in with Detective Aguado.
That's great.
That's good stuff. And I love that actor. And then he goes to talk to his friend Tone Loc, but he talks out of his butt.
Right.
And he says, I'd like to ask you a question.
Now, is that from In Living Color too?
Nope.
I thought it was.
I don't recall it if it was.
All right. Anyway, yeah. It's not that funny.
It's very funny.
That's your little bit of your juvenilia coming through there, but that's okay. I think everybody finds it funny.
But it's not all juvenilia because he gets a little highbrow with it. He starts singing opera and he goes, "Asshole mio, osada mia,"
and that's osada mia.
That's funny.
That's creative. Osada Mia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he keeps doing it even as Lieutenant Einhorn, Sean Young, walks up, sidles up. I think you get a saxophone flourish on the soundtrack.
Oh no, it's Sean Young.
Because this is Sean Young at her like fittest and sexiest.
Oh my God, she is just stunning. Oh.
All right, so then he.
Sorry.
What happens? He goes to see his friend Woodstock at a Cannibal Corpse concert. I don't know what Woodstock is doing. Is he like the sound guy?
I don't know, but I thought it was hilarious. It was just like, I did not know. I don't remember any of that.
Does he live in this arena?
Well, it seems like he operates some kind of sonar station where it's almost like he's under siege or something. And
he was trying to, like whale hunters, those guys, whale wars and shit. I think he was trying to like offset them, confuse them on the sonar so that they wouldn't catch the whales.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
I think that's what he's doing.
So he's like a save the animals type guy. Oh, that's cool.
I mean, his name is Woodstock, and he was like a hippie guy.
I like that Ace has these weird friends, and they'd make no sense. Even Tone Loc, like, what would make them?
Where'd they meet?
How did that work? Was like the first time he ever came to the police station, like everyone else made fun of him, but Tone Loc was like, "I like to cut at his jib."
Yeah, it may be.
Yeah, it's just one of those things.
It's like me, Henry. Like, there were certain characters, like when we worked at Barnes & Noble, where it was like you would have no patience for them, but I was amused by them. And maybe Tone Loc is just amused by Ace Ventura in a way that the others aren't.
Very true.
Okay. I'm glad we gave that so much thought.
I thought you were going to... I completely 100% thought you were going to say... For you, I thought you were going to say, it's like when we worked at Barnes & Noble, and, it's like a lot of... Certain people didn't take to me, but, but you did, Henry, and, like, our gang.
I want
totally what I thought you...
Everybody liked me. Shut up. I know that's not true. All right, so he goes to see Woodstock, and I will say that the password is something that me and my sister have done for years.
Really? That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it's oh shit!
What's the password? New England clam chowder, and then you go, is that the red or the white? And he goes, I can never remember that. You have to fit that in. And he goes, white? And then the door opens. He goes, yes. Me and my sister have done that for years. My sister and I, whatever.
That's great. I love that. That's very cute.
All right. So he gets some info about, he's Ronald Camp, a billionaire, played by Udo Kier.
Yeah, very strange to see Udo in there, but perfect.
He's been buying up a lot of big equipment, like aquariums.
Yes, and I have to say some of that scene doesn't really work, that whole party scene to me, but the most I laughed was when he just answered the door, and it's like the guy on the Love Boat, and he just answered. Remember that? The guy
yeah, Captain Stubing.
Yes. Oh my God.
Permission to come aboard or something. That's very funny. His outfit is perfect too. That white sports coat over like that horrible Florida print button down he's wearing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's amazing. That whole scene, I loved that whole sequence, and it is the little things when he walks by and he hits the like the cellist's instrument, and it just like makes a wrong note for a second. When he's inspecting the hors d'oeuvres because he was weirdly you don't like that shit? You don't like him making the faces with the food in his mouth?
It's impressive that he can do it. It didn't make me really laugh. I thought it's
enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
Yeah, it is enjoyable. When he comes out of the bathroom, I thought that was funny.
That is wonderful. Do not go in there. Classic.
But it's the way he looks. Because it's again not something I would generally find funny, but the way he comes out with his pants shredded and everything.
First of all, he should be coming out with no fucking legs because he gets attacked by a shark.
Jaws style. He gets, like in the beginning of Jaws, the girl, he gets swam across the tank multiple times. Yeah, he's fine, not a scratch.
His pants are ripped. That's literally it. Like, what the fuck were those pants made of? Adamantium?
I imagine that this is how I did this I justified that survival in my head by saying he just simply talked to the shark. He knows how to speak to animals. He probably communicated with the shark.
You think Ace Ventura has Aquaman powers?
I think he has all kinds of animal powers. Fish, mammals, animals, yeah.
During all of this, Courtney Cox is like having a long discussion with Udo Kier, and I'm like, how does she know this billionaire? They seem to be like old friends.
Yeah,
Isn't she just like a low-level Dolphins employee?
Yeah, but doesn't he have something to do with the Dolphins? They say that in the paper that they show, the newspaper.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's got some connection to the ownership or some shit like that. I don't know, but yeah, she does have a long conversation.
All right. So then Ronald Camp has a ring, and it matches up with the little ruby or amber that he found in the tank earlier.
It's a diamond.
It's an amber. And then
I thought it was a diamond.
It's not. So he needs to find a ring, like this ring. It's the 1984 Dolphins championship ring, and he's got to find one that's missing this amber, one of them.
Yeah. Right.
And so then we get a long montage set to the great Aerosmith album track from 1993's Get a Grip, entitled Line Up.
I didn't know that was from Get a Grip.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good song.
I know.
Yeah, when Aerosmith came in there, I was kind of like also happy because that's when they were good, and also because I was like, oh, that's cool. Aerosmith, like, this movie's a weird thing because it's made for $15 million, but they have viable stars in it, and
they don't have viable stars. I don't know where you're getting that from.
Sean Young, man.
Sean Young is your viable star in this movie?
They got Sean Young.
This is Sean Young in 1994.
She hadn't collapsed by then.
She was starting to.
It was right, but she hadn't collapsed yet.
The Batman incident was 5 years earlier.
That was even sooner than that, I think, because it was Batman Returns.
Oh, that's right. So 2 years earlier.
Yeah. But I mean, they got a lot of famous character actors. You got your Tone Loc, you got your Randall Tex Cobb, you got the two country boys, you got
I know, huge stars. Roger Protector.
You got the right. No, but what I mean is you have the rights to use the Miami Dolphins. They don't make like today. I feel like if they didn't have the money, they'd make up.
That's true. League. That's true.
That's what I mean. They actually, you don't see that often now. Like you don't. It's the actual Miami Dolphins. It's actually Dan Marino. And so then usually I would think that the music would all just be fucking made up shit.
Well, it mostly is, but they got an Aerosmith song. They got an album track.
A very funny sequence. I liked it a lot. What was your favorite besides the urinal sequence, which we'll get to?
Which, by the way, I think a bold move to imply that one of the Miami Dolphins was gay.
That's true.
No,
especially how it walks.
I really always thought it was funny the scene where he's running next to that guy.
he chloroforms him finally.
Yeah,
that's very funny.
I like when he collapses at the side of the track.
I like when he's, for some reason, I think it's the first one. It's so dumb, and it's not that original, but it works when he's just driving wildly next to the one.
Yeah.
Guy gives him the finger.
And he also lets himself get punched at one point, so he could see the indentation of the ring in his head.
Many times, because then later we see his face covered with calluses.
Is that what that is implying?
That's the only thing I could think, even though you only see it happen once.
I don't know, but he's also doing like a nerdy. He's like at a fan convention or something. So I was wondering if it was like fake acne to look like a nerd.
Oh, wow. That's a deep dive.
I have no fucking idea. I've always been confused by that.
Yeah, I had just assumed it was indentations, but
Okay,
one
so, but
never
all of them have all the ambers, all right? So he's fucking confused. He's convinced by this ring theory, but he has no clue what's going on. There's a great scene where he's hanging out with Courtney Cox and he's very depressed and he's being ornery with her. I'm very amused by that. And another thing my sister and I had to say to each other, Henry, is, well, why don't you cry about it? Saddlebags.
That whole scene's very funny because she says all this shit to him and he's like, yeah, and you're ugly. And then the camera's on Courtney Cox, which makes it so funny. And then he calls her fatty.
Yeah. Fatty. Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, that's post-coital, right? They have the sex.
No. They have not had sex yet. Okay. If you don't know, I know this movie.
I can tell, man. This is like your Ghostbusters or something, man.
Well, I mean, Ghostbusters was my Ghostbusters, but I watched this a lot as a kid.
No, but I mean, as a little kid, I was 6 when that came out. You were.
Yeah, in terms of like a new movie, yeah, for sure.
That's what
No, I saw this in theaters. I had it on VHS, in a yellow Blockbuster like generic case.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it had bonus footage, which I think we got to see in this version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all that mental institution stuff later in the movie.
Yeah.
Not in the theatrical release.
Is that right?
That's right.
Oh, I always remembered him in the 2-2.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a classic scene,
all right.
but yeah. All right, what happens next? Oh, the crime scene. So they get news that Roger Pedactor has killed himself.
Yeah, he's jumped over his own balcony.
Yeah.
So I think.
But then they go to the crime scene and Ace really fucking cracks it, bro. And it turns out it is not a suicide, it's a murder. And of course the classic moment in that scene is when he yells outside the screen door.
It was great.
Yeah.
The greatness of that scene is how long it goes on.
I was talking to a younger lady, Henry, and I mentioned that we were doing this for the podcast, and that was the only thing she knew about this movie, was that scene.
That's funny, because I didn't remember it when he did it. It came back to me immediately, but I was like, oh my God, that's genius. Just because he keeps going. He does it like 6 times. It's so ridiculous. And yeah, that's brilliant.
And then he ends with his fucking Tangina impression from Poltergeist.
Yes, that was fun. That was nice to see. Yeah. Although I believe he says this house is clear.
Yeah, he fucks up the line.
The line's clean, right?
Yep, yeah, it's a misnomer.
That's funny that... Okay.
It's like, Luke, I am your father.
Right. That's right.
All right, so then that he's so fucking impressive, dude. They have like a heart-to-heart about his secret thoughts and dreams and desires, and then they fuck.
Was that's first he tells her the dream about the dog,
yeah.
right? The rabies dog. That was funny too.
Yeah. It kept gaining on me and gaining on me. Yeah, so they fuck with all the animals watching, and The Lion Sleeps Tonight plays on the soundtrack.
Yeah, that's
it's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
Courtney Cox has a long history with that song. That would later figure into the first season of Friends. That song.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Really? Yeah. He does that about 1,000 times in this movie.
Does he? This is what I wanted to ask you. Does he? I'd have to watch The Mask, I guess, to figure it out. But does he do pretty much all of those lines that we all know now in this movie? He does, like, oh, really? He does already.
No. But The Mask has Somebody Stop Me.
Somebody Stop
and
Me.
Smoking.
Right. Which both aren't as funny.
But they're classics.
Oh yeah, they are. But this is the one where he does the laugh that he did in Living Color.
Yeah.
And then alrighty then. Yeah. Okay. I was curious.
Anytime anyone does a Jim Carrey impression, they're doing either this or The Mask.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, so after they fuck, by the way, she says 3 times. I'm like, oh, we have to really like juice up the fact that like Ace Ventura is an amazing lay. I did not need that.
And then he goes in for a 4th.
Yeah, he does. So he finds out, he learns of Ray Finkel, who was the kicker for the Dolphins during that Super Bowl run. And he was like the backup kicker, and he turned out to be amazing. I can't remember a kicker ever gaining such notoriety that quickly. And then in the Super Bowl, he fucked up a kick and it lost the game for them.
Which, of course, is sadly, obviously, a reference to the poor Scott Norwood.
The Bills, right?
Yeah, of course.
I know. I was thinking, like, you just watched that doc.
Yes, I did. Yeah, no. I knew that when it happened because when the movie came out, that was fresh in everyone's memory, including mine. And so he goes to the house. And
the house is in Collier County, Florida. And listen, Henry, there are certain moments in this movie that strain credulity, I would say.
No, really?
Yeah. And one of those for me was when he drives into Collier County and the sign says Collier County, home of Ray Finkel.
Okay.
He was a backup kicker for half a season on the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, but didn't they write Ray Stenkel?
Well, yeah, of course.
But little towns are like that.
Shut the fuck. He's a kicker.
Dude, you haven't been to enough little towns. I've been to a lot of them.
I don't know,
take
man.
anything they can.
And
man.
he's like, but everyone hates him. And this is like 10 years later, and that's still on the sign?
Well, they wrote Stinkle. I mean,
yeah.
You go to these towns, you could be like a 3rd-string center, and they'd probably have you a fucking dedication to you. Who knows? I mean, I understand, but,
All right.
Who knows?
All right, yeah, so he goes to the house, and Ray Finkel's parents are there, and the mom's fucking delusional. She thinks Ray's going to come home any minute, and the dad's kind of crazy, too. But then he learns of the whole laces out thing, where Ray Finkel blames Dan Marino for what happened with that kick, and basically for his life going down the tubes, because the Dolphins dropped him after that season. And his room is like a shrine to hating Dan Marino. Which I would like my room to be. That sounds all right.
You hate Dan Marino?
No, but I mean, it would be funny to have your bedroom dedicated to hating Dan Marino.
I'll tell you what strange credulity is that they thought that Dan Marino would have held a kick for a kicker.
That's a great point.
That's immediately what I was thinking. I was like, damn, that quarterback, what? Maybe in the fucking 60s if they didn't have a punter to do it or second string somebody.
That's actually a really fucking good point, dude.
Yeah, but I also liked the mother was the librarian from Ghostbusters in the beginning of Ghostbusters.
She sure was. She's been in a lot of shit like that. She always shows up as like a batty old woman.
Awakenings, she's in that too. Is a crazy, a comatose person. Yeah.
So what happens now? What happened? R.I.P. Fred Willard.
What happened? Well, basically, long story short, he is stymied at how Einhorn is connected. He sees an article that a woman named Lois Einhorn was abducted in the woods, never heard from again.
Well, that's at the mental institution,
right?
But that happens like pretty much right after that. He goes undercover at a mental hospital.
Yes,
wearing a tutu, and I mean, it's a wild sequence. I can understand why they cut it out of the original because it doesn't really add much to the Ray Finkel story. You can get to it quicker elsewhere, but some of the bits are good. I like the way he tries to get into that box, that cardboard box.
Yes, that's pretty funny.
And I like that when he smashes his head next to the sink. I mean, the fountain, the water fountain.
Oh, on the couch?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was always impressed by that. It seems like he went really hard.
Well, when he first did it, I thought it was wood, and I was like, "Ooh." And then I realized it was like a cushion.
You know, I tried to think of that word again just now because he puts his head down. That's a good sound effect.
This is the theme. The mystery of
the fuck show. Is it?
What are those guys called?
Ah! All right.
I mean, I can Google it while you talk.
Yeah. Anyway, also that mental hospital was called Shady Acres because of Tom Shadyac.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah. So he realizes that Lois Einhorn is Ray Finkel.
When his dog sits on Ray Finkel's picture.
Mm-hmm. That was a cute scene with him walking around with the monkey. You know, I don't know if the monkey figures more into When Nature Calls, but I watched the Ace Ventura cartoon, which existed for a couple of years.
God. Okay.
And the monkey was ever present in that, like a sidekick,
really?
almost like Slimer in the Ghostbusters cartoon.
All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe this scene was a hit.
It must have been. I mean, Slimer had like 2 scenes in Ghostbusters. 1 scene, really, and he was like their sidekick. So
yeah, exactly. So transphobia. He realizes that he kissed a man because there was a scene we skipped over where he kisses Lois Einhorn briefly.
It's really homophobia to me more than it is transphobia. They don't even understand at that point what I would think in 1990.
I mean, but it still exists.
It's both. It's both things.
No, there was transphobia back then. No, people calling people trannies and shit.
Absolutely. But I mean, I just felt like there was more, like all the disgust that they all feel. It isn't because they're
it's gay panic.
It's a man.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if I kissed a fucking man, like I would fuck Sean Young with a dick.
With yours or hers?
No, I'm saying like if 1994 Sean Young, if she had a penis and I had the opportunity to have sex with her, I would still absolutely do it.
If she was transitioning, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, buddy.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But it's a very weird scene. He starts to vomit and he plunges his face with a plunger. It's not great, gang.
It's crazy.
The only thing keeping it in the realm of amusing, honestly, is the choice to use the Crying Game song.
That was funny.
That is funny to me.
As soon as I heard those like couple of notes, I thought that was funny. But yeah, it really goes insane with that. And then
you know what though?
More so later at the end, and it's
worse at the end. But because in this scene, at least, I recently watched The Crying Game, and by the way, first of all, there's no way I would ever believe that's a woman. People in the early '90s were so fucking naive. I mean, it's obviously a trans woman from the second she shows up.
I thought it was a woman when I first watched it. I saw that movie.
You're a fucking maniac.
I was fucking 13, 14. I thought everybody in the theater did.
People were insane.
And we were dumb.
When she showed that penis, I would not have been surprised, and I would have boned her too. Henry, what was I gonna say? Oh, but the scene in The Crying Game where he finds out that she's a woman, Stephen Rea. Like, he really does freak out. Like, it's not subtle. He goes and vomits in, like, the sink.
But I haven't seen The Crying in a long time, but I always took his reaction to be also, like, emotional, right? Because isn't he, like, developed, like, a whole thing with this person?
Yes, but I still... So I don't think it was fully gay panic, but I do think it was, this has been a man the whole time?
Yeah. Well, that was the whole fucking catch of the movie. I remember thinking that movie was actually quite excellent all the way until that. I thought all that beginning with Forrest Whitaker...
That actually is the best part of that movie.
It's the best part, and then it's divided in 2 halves, which don't really work. But anyway, yeah.
I'm with you. But anyway, I we'll get to the end scene later because that really was bad. Like, people talk about this as being the scene, like, that's offensive, but the scene at the end is so much fucking worse. I mean, we could just talk about it now. Like, once she's revealed as being a man to everybody with her tucked back cock, every police officer around starts, like, vomiting and shit. Just, like, every person in the room, which is a lot, it's like 30 people, at the idea
Marino,
that this
too.
could be, Marino, at the idea that this could be a man, they all start freaking out and vomiting. It's really fucking gross and bad. And if I was a trans person seeing this movie in theaters in 1994, I would have felt like belittled and thought of as nothing.
Well, yeah, or a gay person for that matter.
Yeah.
Just watch that and be like, it's interesting. It's and I was reading at the end there on the Wikipedia. I get there were a lot of critics who pointed that right out.
No, big time,
to their credit. I mean,
and more over time. Like I feel like this movie now, like when people bring it up, they almost always acknowledge that.
See, I've never looked into this movie until now, but yeah, you're right. I mean, now it's obvious, just like anything is over time. But at the time, for critics to point that out too, good on them, I guess. Sure.
Yeah. Also, Jim Carrey shows his butt in that scene.
That's right.
It's small. Right. Frankly, Jim Carrey throwing up after realizing that he kissed Lieutenant Einhorn, I'd be so much more grossed out that I kissed a police officer.
A male police officer.
Anyone. Like, yuck. I kissed a fucking cop.
Woo! Yeah. Oh boy, let's not get started on that road. We'll never stop.
Yeah. So Dan Marino gets kidnapped, and while filming a commercial for Isotoner gloves, I'm interested that Dan Marino was filming a commercial on the day of the Super Bowl.
That's a tight schedule.
Seems unrealistic.
It does. Do you remember those stupid Isotoner commercials?
Yeah, I do. Are Isotoners not around anymore?
They might be, but I don't know if he's doing them. But they were everywhere, man. There was like fucking Air Jordans, fucking Isotoner commercials were everywhere.
Yeah, Dan Marino was popular. He was like a big star.
Huge.
Yeah.
He was, when I was into football as a kid, he was one of my favorite quarterbacks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Still had to sit in his fucking chair in high school, and I hated him.
Right. All right, so what the fuck? There's a big confrontation. Ace saves Dan Marino. Is there anything you want to talk about in that scene?
No.
All right.
I mean, they get away with it. They go to the Super Bowl.
Right, and they kick Lieutenant Einhorn into the water, and she comes out. I'm interested. She looks like a woman. Like, she looks like Sean Young the whole movie. And then all of a sudden, she gets knocked into the water, and apparently her hair dye was, like, just spray dye. It's, like, dripping off of her head. And
I didn't even notice that. I thought it was just, like, makeup.
No, it's black hair. And then... Okay. And also, he steps on her hand and takes her ring off. Excuse me. She's still, as a police officer, wearing the 1984 Super Bowl championship ring.
That occurred to me. I was like, that's. I think someone would notice that. I would also wonder how she rose so high in the police department.
That's a great point. Although she took the identity of a hiker. So who knows? Maybe that hiker had an amazing resume.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. Started walking the beat. She took some bum cases, worked her way up. She's doing some McNulty time, and then she rose in the ranks, all to kill Dan Marino.
She might have also blown her way to the top. Considering the reaction all those police officers have at the end of the movie, it seems like she's kissed a lot of them.
There you go. Maybe, that's they're all collectively regretting their decisions. Yes. Yeah. And then he punches an eagle. I liked the touch at the end where we still get to see the albino pigeon that he needs the $25,000 for.
That was all right. Way to bookend it.
Yeah. And he gets,
he beats up the Eagles mascot.
Beats up the Eagles mascot. He gets the girl.
Yeah. End of movie. What do you give it?
You know, I got to tell you, I was going into this with a 3.
Mm-hmm. You can give it a 3.
You've kind of talked me up a little bit for how much you pointed out that I really did enjoy a great part of the movie. I'm leaning on 4. I'm a little hesitant. I don't know.
Look, it's the eyes you look through the movie. I'm looking through this as being like a performer leaving it all on the table, and I'm giving it a 4. But if you're actually looking at this as like a film, like from like a screenplay and a story level, like it's not very good.
But it's hilarious, you know. It's hilarious. It's hilarious enough to give it probably a 4. So I'll go up. I'll go up.
Who's your MVP?
Oh, gee, let's see. It's obviously it's Carey. Obviously.
Who's your LVP?
Dan Marino.
Oh my God, that is so good. I'm gonna go with Dan Marino too.
Athletes can't act.
They can't. Leave them out of it.
Ray Allen can act.
Oh, he got game? Yeah, he's good in that.
Yeah, that's right. Most athletes are terrible actors, and he is one of the worst.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I'm trying to think of good ones, and there aren't any.
They're all good. Everybody else in the movie's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we'll cover Space Jam when LeBron does his.
There you go.
All right, Hank.
So 2 4-star ratings there.
Great stuff.
It's a very fucking funny movie. It was fun to watch, and it's got some issues societally.
Major.
Yeah, and like I said, I was at a 3, but your enthusiasm, you pushed me over.
What's the superhero count on this baby?
The superhero count on this baby is a whopping 5.
Jim Carrey was in Kick-Ass too. What else?
I appreciate if you wait till the theme has
I'm
played.
sorry.
It's
I broke protocol.
Part of the show. All right. Well, Jim Carrey's been in 2, and you named one of them. What's the other?
Oh, right. He's the Riddler. Okay, who's next?
Who did he play in Kick-Ass 2?
Oh, Jesus. Something like Liberty or something?
Colonel Stars and Stripes.
There you go. Okay.
Courtney Cox. All right. I included this because I consider this, I'm sort of breaking my own rules here. This is a superhero. He was certainly one of my superhero favorites when I was a kid. He-Man.
Oh, of course. Masters of the Universe.
It was their second movie. Yeah. Masters. John Capodice, who played Aguado. That's right. He played Al the cabbie, which makes sense. I could picture him being a cabbie, obviously. And
he's wearing a hat. He's looking back every so often. Hey!
First time in town?
Yeah, totally.
We'll take you to Carnegie Hall. He is in the great Billy Zane vehicle, The Phantom.
You feel like delivering any exposition to me?
What do they call you, the Phantom? Yes. That's a nice purple tights you got there, Billy.
Billy. All right. What's next?
Udo Kier. I remembered this one. Udo Kier played Dragonetti in Blade.
Okay, I don't remember. Oh, I vaguely remember that, actually.
Yeah, he's in. All right, we got a few of him, also his voice, which makes sense.
Sure, he's got a good one.
It's in Mr. Voice. He played the Music Master in Justice League.
Great villains, as ever.
Herbert Ziegler in The Batman.
Jew. I don't picture Udo Kier as a Jew, but okay.
Hard to believe. And Mr. Toad in Beware the Batman.
Mr. Toad, one of the best.
Yeah, obviously. Mark Margolis, Mr. Chickadance.
Mm-hmm.
Say his name, which is a great name.
I believe that was Jim Carrey's landlord growing up or something like that.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
He played a character named Fallon in the 2003 movie Daredevil.
Oh, he certainly did. I can picture him.
I can't. He must have got along with Ben Affleck because he was also then in Gone Baby Gone.
Oh, could be, yeah.
Lastly, he played a character named Paul Cicero in Gotham.
All right, he's been around. Who else?
That's it.
Oh, great. Okay, let's wrap it up, gang. Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls by Thumb Master Steve Odekirk, and then Ace Ventura Jr. Pet Detective. I'm interested in the Pet Detective. Like, Ace Ventura Jr. doesn't tell you what that movie is. Why do you need Pet Detective? I know who Ace Ventura is. You got a little fat kid. By the way, my cousin definitely auditioned for Ace Ventura Jr. Pet Detective.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, someone tweet at my cousin. Don't tell him I told you to do it, and ask him if he auditioned for Ace Ventura Jr.
He came in third to Spencer Breslin, who went for it too.
I'm sure he competed with Spencer quite a bit.